Hey there, and welcome back to another video of mine. Last month I went to Paris and then to London with a friend of mine, and I drew a little bit there, but I still have so many photos that I took that I want to do sketches of. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. So right here on my phone, I have the folder with the photos I took on the first day in Paris. And since this sketch is something I did while we were eating at a restaurant, because they had like a painting with this image, I decided to just use the day one folder for this again and see what I want to draw. All the stuff you see laying around, the receipts and everything are from that trip and the different areas. So let's see how I'm going to combine this into the page. Okay, so now I switched over to voiceover because man, drawing and talking at the same time is hard. And today my brain was not up for that, which is more than fine with me. The goal for this spread is to record memories, have fun, but also get back into watercolors because I had, well, actually still have, a pretty long sketchbook with just printer paper, and I was so focused on trying to fill that while also doing digital art, I absolutely neglected my watercolor skills. Now I'm rusty as hell and I gotta fix that. And creating spreads to specific themes are one of my favorite ways to play around in my sketchbook, especially since it's a nice way to combine many supplies in one art session and just go crazy with them. The playing around mindset is the best mindset for me to get new ideas, for example for styles or layouts or how to combine materials, etc. Man, I really miss doing sketchbook spreads. I love how the end result always looks kinda cool, even if there are elements in the individual sketches I wish I'd done differently. It takes so much pressure off, and everything makes so much more fun when you can play around freely. I also love those classic travel illustrations made with watercolors, but I think personally I want to do something different with my style. But like, inspired by that classic one, if that makes sense. Point being, I feel like I want to know how that traditional watercolor style works so that I can transform it into my own style. Probably by introducing more unrealistic colors, like using bright pink sketches or line art over a green bush or something like that. And also introducing graphic elements and shapes that aren't there in real life. But to be able to play around, I need to and want to know the basic style. Kinda like master studies, I'd say. But that's for future plans, because today is literally just all play. The rough sketch was way faster than I thought it would be. But to be fair, I just laid down the compositions, and some of the very first photos I saw on my camera roll really spoke to me, because they reminded me of the very moment I took them right away. I work like this because if I already know what I'm going to draw on the spread, I can switch between sketches while I let the other ones dry first, for example. I also love incorporating scrapbooking and collecting designs and just anything physical I can stick into my sketchbook from my travels, because that helps me remember as well. And the different textures give the whole spread an even more individual and fun feeling. And here's some context for the receipts and blue card I used. In Paris, they had this public transport card called Navigo to pay for your tickets. Basically, you buy this card and put X amount of euros on it, and then you can ride any RER trains you want, until your money runs out. You can just tap the card on the gate when you go on or leave the train. Luckily, my friend had been to Paris and London multiple times before, so she knew many tips like this already. I mean, usually it's a lot of fun for me to figure these things out on the go, but it's also convenient to let someone else take the lead sometimes. But yeah, the Navi go-kart was a lifesaver for our convenience. I personally know something similar from Hong Kong, but I don't think I've heard of something like this in Germany. To be fair, the general public transport system in Germany is pretty much behind the times, so yeah. But let's talk about happier topics. Food. What I'm drawing here is escargot au beurre persillé, aka snails with garlic herb butter. My friend and I each had our own main dish and shared a serving of escargot because we really wanted to try them. And they were great. To be fair, I love everything that includes garlic butter, but this one in particular was especially delicious. The snails themselves were nice, but I'm personally not much of a fan of meat. Are they even considered meat? I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. But yeah, the actual snails didn't blow my mind, but I did really enjoy them. We were a tiny bit disappointed that they didn't come in their shells, but that's fine as well. I personally was curious about how hard or easy it would be to get the actual snail out of the house. Like, I've eaten mussels so many times before, and I imagine it would feel a little similar to picking the mussels out of the shell, in a way, but I guess I'll have to figure that out on my next opportunity. As for the pigeon I'm drawing, that was one of the many ones we saw at the Louvre, and this one in particular was super pretty. So nice and black with shimmering blues and purples and the red eyes and everything. Over the entire trip, we saw lots of pigeons and birds in general, and especially in the parks, we also saw many male ones chasing the female ones. Men really can't take a no for an answer in any species, huh? But also, we didn't go into the Louvre, by the way, because it's so gigantic that the 3 days we had in Paris wouldn't have been enough. My friend had been into the Louvre already, and I personally wanted to see other things instead of spending all time in one museum. We did go to other museums, but those are topics for another day. But yeah, I would have loved to see the Winged Victory or Liberty leading the people in the Louvre, but I think it would be smarter for me to take an extended weekend trip back to Paris to go there multiple days, at a later point in time. And then I'd have all the time in the world to draw. Well, not all the time, because apparently if you'd stop for 10 seconds at each of the artworks in the Louvre, you'd still need more than 3 days, including nights, with no breaks. But you know what I mean. So instead, we kept walking after we had a look at the amazing architecture from outside the Louvre, and after our city exploration, we ended up relaxing in front of the Eiffel Tower on our first evening. Honestly speaking, I loved the entire trip, but on God, I need a slower travel speed. I need to be able to process everything, because after the trip, I was so overstimulated I got sick for like a week. Not that I'm complaining. I wouldn't change anything if I had the chance to, but it was a lot of input into my brain. But that's just one more reason why I want to do more of these sketchbook spreads. I've done some trips where I did one of these spreads every day, and that was amazing. So while I couldn't do it on this trip, I will for sure do it now that I have my energy back and all these wonderful memories and photos I can use as references. But that's it for now. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the spread, and it kind of feels like I ripped the band-aid off of my intimidation of picking up my sketchbook again. If you liked this video and would like to see the spread for other days as well, please subscribe, and I hope I'll see you again in the next video. But for now, bye bye!